Great sunrise, people of life, light, and the dark. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm coming to you this morning to talk about mind games. Everything in this society that we deal with, we all know it works at a level to keep us imprisoned and not allow us to reach our next level. We can see this in many, many ways that they started this programming long, long time ago. They started basically through control, through control. And so basically they started setting up for the control a long time ago. One particular time I would talk about is the time when they changed over the calendar. And not only that, there was other instances. Also, that I would say when they fiddled with the scriptures as well, the book, the Bible. It was just a slow, slow process to their next step. And by changing the date, they were able to make you think that they basically formulated a reality for you. We allow too much for them to formulate reality for us and set the standards. But if we know that we are more than just flesh and blood, that we have, like I harp on a lot, we're energy, and they aim to keep our energy low, to keep us in a low state of energy. And they do it through our thinking. So basically, to change the calendar and confuse us and make us feel like we're in 2020 when you were really in 2012 and now we're in 2013. So when you think about the Ethiopian calendar, which we should be going by, you have to look at it's a calendar that everyone once went by, but they were the only ones that held out and decided to keep their calendar the same. Were the ones who tampered with the Bible and tampered with the divinity thing, divinity thought process. They too wanted you to. They wanted to construct your time, make you feel like this was your reality. The same way they want you to continue flowing energy towards them, continue to let trivial things on this planet bother you. Here on my channel, I challenge your mind to rise above all things on this earth, to rise above it in thinking, to strive to be more intelligent, because we're at a level. where we're not dealing with the intelligent. We're dealing with constructs formulated by primitive beings that want to pull us down to work at their level, think at their level, which is not going to incite within us the power that we need to combine with the will we have. See, we have the will as a people, but we just haven't got to that power yet. So I challenge us to focus on our reality. Our true reality has nothing to do with anything that man, this vampire, has made on this earth. You may live in the system, but recognize that, thank you, Camp, recognize that they don't run anything. All they do is run around this sucker. Like in the words of Bobby Hemmett, they may run around this place, but they're not running anything. So once you recognize what really runs this place is not like you and me, and it's not the beast, it's something unknown, unseen, then you can start to let go because you know the middleman is weak, the one that got us thinking, like I said before, thinking that the middleman is the strength. Like I said before, I talked about, I've seen the Caucasian with strings, like not necessarily strings, but you see, they're soulless people. So I talked in the past about possession, how they're easily possessed. So basically, whatever's behind the whole thing of us is trying to keep us entrapped so that we can come back and do all of this over again. So basically, as I spoke in the past about how we have to raise our frequency high, be balanced, use our left brain and our right brain, because that's the way we're going to gain the will to and connect it to the power to move forward and not be stagnant without fear. And a fear will become our weapon instead of a weapon used against us. Any emotions should become your weapon. So basically, the mind games is what we should play versus the checkers or chess. We should be finished trying to get their men and protecting our own men. Because by now, we're at a point where they already going to get what they're going to get off of our board, part of the board. So we have to, as individuals, work on the mind games. We have to work in our minds. See, I always say the mind is the most powerful thing that we have. It can be against us. We can either allow it to be used against us, or we can allow it to be used for us. You have that, you make that decision. See, I've been through a mentally challenged time in my life. So I know, and I have clarity on that. I have clarity on that. My mind challenged me very, 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 for a long period of time. It challenged me. And what I found was, after, let me see, how many years was this that my mind, I'd say from 87, I didn't get over what I mentally was going through until 90, I would say 94, when I went away from my home to college. It took until 1994 before I got over 1987 to 1994, what I was going through mentally, the challenge my mind put upon me. And I was able to get myself through that. So that's how I know, in my experience, how powerful the mind is. You could be, when your mind starts playing against you and you end up defeating it, ain't nothing like it. But when other people outside, because sometimes when your own mind plays tricks with you, you could think that it's usually contribute to something outside of you, but mine was indirectly. Something I heard affected me very seriously, that it spun me into paranoia. It spun me into um, fear growing up. But it's the same thing. That was an indirect assault on my mind. These people didn't know me. It's just they didn't know how they were affecting the other people in the environment around them. But what we deal with as Black people on a daily basis, they know how they affect us. It's no indirect, it's direct. So what we have to do is control our minds. That's why, I think my art is so important. Not only that, breathing, keeping our bodies healthy, and our minds clear and clean. Because if you're not focused on, and you're not thinking that something has control over you, that thing can have control over you. I learned in my experience that I was thinking that people were staring at me when I was walking down the street. And how silly can that be? That's because my environment that I lived in, I don't know whether they were directly trying to affect me, but I just say indirectly because I didn't know them, I didn't speak to them. But they directly did caused me to feel like I was being stared at all the time. I know that fact because they were such a hateful people, very hateful people. So they were downright racist people, basically. And they were doing everything under the sun. They were doing everything under the sun. And it terrorized me because I wasn't used to that kind of environment. But I had to learn that that was idiocracy. People are going to look at you, but there's a healthy look and then there's an unhealthy way people look at you. People are not going to just stand on the corner and stare at you down. And people are not going to just sit on their porch and stare at you like you're crazy. There's something wrong with them when they do that. I had to learn the idiocracy and worrying about people staring at you when you're walking on the street, that they're not going to harm me, they can't touch me, that I was safe. So I had to deal within myself a lot because do I want to be stuck in a home or stuck not being able to come out? Did I want to continue to be fearful when I got off the school bus to walk down the street? Did I want to be I didn't even want to leave the school. I didn't even want to leave. It seemed like it was fun to leave the house in the morning, but I felt I had to create things in my mind to get me out of the house in the morning to go to school. And then I felt better. It seemed like I felt better in the mornings going to school than I did in the evenings having to walk home because it seemed like it was a longer walk home after I got off the school bus. So I'm telling you from experience of a person that has been terrorized mentally that you can overcome. You think you're stuck in a system, but does it really exist as such? You have to change your mind about things. You have to feel like you're empowered in your mind. You have to have imagination. Imagination is very critical. Imagination played a big part in what I overcame. A big part in what I overcame. A lot of music helped me. I was able to leave the house with music in my mind and just walk down the street. Sometimes you have to replace it with something. Then you have to deal with it too. You have to face it. Then you have to find the idiocracy in the situation. Then you have to pull yourself out mentally from the system, the place where you think you're entrapped. Then you have to examine it, look around at it. Then you have to decide to let go. You have to decide to let go of the mental bondage you feel like you're in. You know, those outside of us, you're dealing with you have to go down your journey and with discernment. And discernment's very critical on your journey, on your path. You have to say, is this thing right here Is this place, this thing that I'm dealing with, is this place where I'm at, is it lifting up my frequency or is it pulling my frequency down? Is it building me up or is it dragging me down? Is it making me ill or is it help boosting my health? The number one thing is it making me happy? If it's making me struggle and it's making me unhappy, then it's either not good for me, or I have to, or it could be my mind, myself, how I'm dealing with the situation. You see, but the whole thing is that's the only game we have to play is our mind games, because they made us think we're in a time and we're not. This is the Caucasian time. This is not our time. So we need to rearrange a lot of things in our minds to work for us. Because these people, like I said, we give them energy, we make them have life. We need to stop giving credence, giving any validity. That's what we can control. That's what we control. And like I say all the time, create. We need to create. It's called the falling away. The falling away. So with that said, Timeline, thank you, Kim. True love, real peace, and the higher self within the soul. Till next time. Peace.